Right when you are. Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sakalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios here in Merrick, New York. And is everybody enjoying this weather? Hope you are, because I'm definitely enjoying this weather. I am enjoying this weather like nobody else. If I could have this type of temperature all year round, I will be the happiest of campers. What about you, Trevor? You like this weather?
Yeah, but it ain't gonna last, man.
Can't hear you.
It's not gonna be lasting for long. We'll go back down and we get 48 degrees at 54, you know.
Well, why do you have to be such a downer? Yeah.
Well, I'm not down, but it's the spring.
Enjoy it.
It's the spring. That's what I'm looking for.
Enjoy the weather while we can. Enjoy it. I'll take it. I will take it. No problem on my end.
I'll take it too, Nick, but this kind of weather will get you either sick or something.
Well, if we keep flip flopping, yeah, that's definitely going to be the case. But that being said, we got a show. I got a few things that I definitely want to bring back to everybody. But before I get started with the topics tonight, I wanted to actually give a little bit of kudos to people. I always give people a lot of grief as far as poor customer service and that kind of a thing. And I also like to give them accolades and a little bit of applause when they're actually doing the right thing. So lately, just like everybody else and almost every other industry and every other business and that kind of a thing, I've been going crazy trying to find a decent sign guy. Guys that, install signs, manufacture signs, that kind of thing. And I've been getting the runaround from multiple people. Now, yeah, everybody, in the name of COVID, let's just, in the name of COVID, let's say that we're backed up and we can't keep up with the demand, et cetera, et cetera. That's the kind of excuse you're getting from a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. But I did come across a local business that actually not only stepped up, but they actually, they're doing the right thing and getting the job done, asking me what I need. And they're very smart about it, to be quite honest with you, because I'm in charge of a big account right now. We're basically covering the entire island going to Queens. So they don't exactly know the magnitude of how big of a job it could be for them, but they did the right thing anyway. So, I think giving credit due where it belongs is something that's important to do, and I'll give kudos and applause to Signarama over in Hicksville. They don't even know I'm talking about them right now. Probably won't know either. I don't think they know I do this show, but I'll give them kudos. And if somebody wants to go out there and use a sign company, they're a solid group. Get the owner calling you directly to help you out, that kind of thing. I appreciate that. So I appreciate these guys, and I'm going to give them the credit where necessary. Now, if they burn me, I'll tell you guys if they burn me down the line too, but I don't think that's going to be the case. It looks like they want to do the right thing. So happy to have made another contact and another business relationship. Again, they're not a sponsor of the show or anything like that. I'm just giving them applause and recognition for a job well done. It's a different weekend this weekend for me personally. I was not working. I mean, yeah, I guess I was kind of working. I was taking calls and checking some emails here and there, but I was not physically in the office, and I was not on the field. I was. I took time off. I took the weekend off. Took the opportunity to go and celebrate and spend some time with a few friends of mine. A really, really good friend of mine just turned 50, so that was a really big thing. Happy birthday once more, song. If you're listening, sometimes he does listen. Happy birthday. 50 is a big, big year, milestone, half a century. Good shape right now as far as how my friend is holding up and 50 years old. 50 is the new 40, I guess. That's what they're saying. Don't ask me because I'm 45 and I feel like I'm 85. But hey, that's how it is sometimes. So we had a really really good time. But amongst my travels to AC, going through Jersey, I'm the kind of guy that actually likes to observe everything around me, and my real estate brain doesn't necessarily shut off just because I'm on vacation. I'm always observing neighborhoods and cities and other areas that I'm not familiar with, like my local territory. And I have to say this: Atlantic City was never, in my personal opinion, maybe somebody will disagree with me. As long as I remember it, in my years of going there, was never necessarily the greatest city as far as what it offered. It was always a little bit dumpy or a little bit, you know, neglected, so to say. You don't necessarily see a lot of stuff going on there that really attracts you. I want to go and live there and that kind of thing. I guess it's because of the all the casinos and that entire scene that basically um, kind of scare people away as far as wanting to live there and not having that chaos going on around them and that kind of thing. But what I noticed this time, a little bit more than other times, notice this a little bit more than other times. Just before I get too into this, we need the phone number here, just in case anybody wants to call in. Trevor has the finger on the dial, so if he doesn't like somebody's voice, he's not going to accept them to come on the radio. And if they're offensive, they're not going to come on the radio either. But the number here is 516-623-1240. The number is 516-623-1240. So if you want to call in, be heard, have your voice heard to the world, you can call in through this number. Now, I also have a StreamYard link. In the chat, in the live chat. And if you wanted to call in, or you wanted to be on the actual show through the YouTube end, you can do that as well. So you have options if you want to be heard. But if you don't want to be heard, you could just listen to me talk. So, that being said, I'm sitting and observing Atlantic City from a different perspective. I'm looking at it from this one. I wasn't expecting major developments to happen there. I wasn't expecting a lot of different um, projects to blow me away. But I also didn't expect to see it in the shape that it was. Because what I will tell you is, I would see house after house boarded up in pretty bad shape, properties that were neglected, semi knocked down houses that were look like they've been sitting like that for quite some time. Now I'm sure that COVID had something to do with it, as far as some projects stopping and not continuing, that kind of thing. But not enough for me to believe that it should have been left in that case. Now I took everything I saw from my surroundings as far as driving up and down the streets, and I also took into consideration what was going on in the actual casino. We stayed at the Borgata Water Club place, pretty nice hotel, casino area resort. Um, Typically, the kind of place that is really, really jam packed. It also, by the way, was a coincidence that it was March Madness, and you would expect there to be pandemonium, to be chaos in that area, especially with all the sports betting now and all the stuff that's going on right now. You would expect chaos to be happening. You expect real movement, energy. And I'll tell you something. I was not overwhelmed in any way. There was not a lot of traction compared to what it should have been. Yes, there were people there. There were a lot of people there. But you need there's a lot, and then there's a lot, like a lot, to fill it up. And it wasn't full. And I'll tell you by like around two-ish, kind of died out on a Saturday night. Kind of died out, and that's a little concerning as far as that sector and that kind of environment. That on a Saturday night it would die out like that. Compound that with the amount of stuff that has been neglected in that city, amount of boarded homes. It's not a really good sign for that area, in my personal opinion. Now I could be wrong, but it looks like that sector and that area is struggling, and they're going to have a hard time coming back. Now, how much did COVID affect them? I'm sure they affected them, if not just as much, maybe more than other places, especially if you take into consideration what was going on here in the city, here in New York City. But it is an attraction area, and people have been trying to get away from places. And the fact that they haven't been running to a resort like that or an area like that to be able to have a getaway kind of gives me a few alerts. Now, why am I talking about this? Well, I've always been the kind of person that likes to run the opposite way of the flocks. When I see herds, masses, the mindless sheep, they run one way. Oh, we got to go this because that's what everybody's telling us to do. When I see that happen, I have a tendency of wanting to go the opposite way. I want to go against the grain. I want to go opposite where the herds are running. Why? Because usually that's where the money is. Usually that's where the money is. I'm not sure if that's the case with Atlantic City right now, but I will tell you this much. This little weekend that I was there got me thinking a little bit. Maybe there's some opportunity there. Maybe there's some opportunity. Maybe there's some investment opportunity there. I'm sure the prices for the homes over there, the properties over there, the commercial properties over there are not even close to the kind of expense that we pay over here. There is still an attraction there. The casinos are still there. And even if half of them close, there's still going to be something going on. There's still going to be the boardwalk. There's still other things that could attract people. They could revitalize that place. I think personally, that place could actually make a major comeback if the real money and the serious investors go into that area and try to develop it. I'll tell you one thing that I find very, very interesting about that whole sector and area, and something I didn't observe. And if somebody knows something that I don't know, please point it out to me and let me know. Just let me know. Hey, NYC guy. Best time of the day is Monday with Nick. Thank you very much, NYC guy. I appreciate you being on with me as well. And everybody that also listens. But I'm thinking to myself, if the right money goes in there, And the one thing that I see that's missing there starts actually going in there. It might change that whole dynamic altogether. Here's something that I noticed. And you get this in other resort areas, you get this in the other casino towns, you get this in other tourist type of areas. High end living, condominiums, co op kind of situations, with all the bells and whistles, all the amenities. Why haven't there been any high rises or any type of developments like that built across that whole area? And if there is, and I'm missing it, please let me know. I'm going to do my research. I'm just talking about from glance. All I see is hotel, 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 resort, resort, resort. Every so often you see a Ripley's Believe It or Not, or a restaurant here and there, and that's about it. Aquarium. There could be so much more that's there, and it starts with people wanting to actually get a vacation place there. But if they can't purchase a vacation place there, they won't. And if all they see is dumpy, beat up, dilapidated, semi-condemned homes all around it, they're not going to spend the money there. So why aren't they picking up all these properties, all these, I don't know, junky homes? I don't know what the best way to say this is. It starts developing on that land. There's got to be something to that. Now, I'm not the person with the backing and the money to go there and get the groups to go throw over there. Not yet. Maybe one day I'll be, but not today. But I think there's something there. I really do think. And the thing that's triggering more than everything is it looks like almost everybody's running for the hills. It's almost like they're escaping, leaving. Almost like what we had here in New York. Escape New York. They got Escape AC. It's interesting. It really is interesting. It's just a personal observation I made and a personal note that I'm putting right now for myself. I'm going to do a little bit of research. My next target that I'd like to take a little bit of a trip to and take another observation would be Philadelphia. I think there's something in Philly as far as investment opportunities. The landlord tenant laws over there are not the greatest if you're a landlord. However, they are a lot more lax than what they are here in New York. I can assure you that. Same as they are in New Jersey. Now, Philly is a metropolitan. It's a large metro. A lot of people love to call it almost like the sixth borough. It's that close to the city. I mean, we're only a couple hours away from Philly. I think there's some value and there's some type of opportunity there. So I think I will take a trip over the next, the short-term future to take a look at what's going on there. Maybe I'll even meet up with some other professionals in the area, some managers in the area, get their thoughts, get their understanding of what's going on, get a better pulse of what's happening. Maybe it's time to start looking outside of the city as far as investment opportunities. And I'm not talking about Florida, Texas, other areas like that, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, where a lot of people are going, it's New Orleans, where a lot of people have been investing over time. I'm not talking about those areas because we know about those areas, and have been great opportunities, and they're also very hot right now as well. The real estate there is super hot. I'm feeling that the place to go, the where to go, is where it's not hot right now. I think there's opportunity there. Now you're gonna say I'm nuts. You're gonna say there's something wrong with me thinking this way, and maybe there is. But I have said crazier things that have come to fruition, and I have said more outlandish things in people's minds that did become great income and investment opportunities. This is not something that I'm just plucking up from the sky. This is not something that I'm just, you know, just throwing there for a reaction. It's something that I've been thinking through for quite some time right now. And after taking a drive through AC again, after about 3 years of not going there, maybe longer than that, it's been quite some time since I've gone there. You know, it was a little bit of time before COVID even hit that I didn't go there. I used to go there all the time for different conventions and stuff like that for work. Every so often, go there just for fun and that kind of thing. But it was never my thing to go there every single weekend and that kind of thing. I know a lot of people love to do that and that kind of thing. It was never my thing. I went there mostly for work purposes, and every so often, if I had a good group of friends and that kind of thing, we'd all go there together and that kind of thing. But after being away from there for so long, it's opening my eyes up to different things. It really is. So I'm intrigued. I truly am intrigued, and I think there's something to it. And I'm going to give everybody updates. I'm going to give everybody updates as I am rolling through this and trying to connection like and trying to run through this. I will do my very best. I will do my very best to think something through, to give people updates and give them um, my feel of what's going on. Hopefully, it helps people. NYC guy, I heard Philly opportunity. Yeah, it's not my own. I'm not. I wish I could take. I wish I could take credit and tell everybody that I'm the I'm the genius that thought about Philly before anybody else. No, it's been around. It's been floating around for quite some time, and there is opportunities out there. I just don't think a lot of people are jumping on that opportunity and are a little bit sheepish about really pulling the trigger. I understand. People love to invest in things they understand and know and are close to. But Philly's pretty damn close. A couple hour drive, 3 hour drive to have a really good investment there of an income opportunity investment. I think there could be something to it. I really do think there could be something to it. But we'll see. We will see. To be continued. You know what else is to be continued? I did a really quick video today because I got so freaking frustrated. I got so frustrated. In the middle of the day, I'm trying to zoom from appointment to appointment. I have clients I got to get to. In the middle of the day, on a Monday, noonish, I'm stuck in log jam traffic. How does this make any sense? How does this make any sense whatsoever? Drives me nuts. It makes me go bonkers. Why are we stuck in massive traffic on a Monday midday? Going east. Not going back to the city. Going east. Who's running out to Suffolk? Who's running out to Long Island in the middle of the day? What's going on? Can somebody help me understand this? Now, I got two theories. I got two theories that are contributing to why we are seeing these jumps in traffic. I have two theories. First theory is, and I think everybody is thinking along the same lines as this, that people don't want to get into mass transportation yet. They're not comfortable yet. There's a lot of people that are resisting going into the trains, the subways, and even the buses. There's a lot of resistance towards that. And I don't blame you. I do not blame you. Trevor, as much as I love you, I would not want to be jammed into a tuna can with you along with another 10 people, basically squished each other, feeling each other's breaths. And you know what? You could be the cleanest person that's next to me. I don't want to feel your breath on me. I don't want to. I don't want you to sneeze on me. Sorry. You think that's funny, right? I know you've been there where you've been into the train and you had that one person that you got all the space in the world and they have to come there and with their nose right against your nose and just look at you.
I know. When I arrived 20 years ago, I used to be really upset about that because I'm almost like you. I can't be that close to people, and they're leaning on you and sometimes put their arms around you and arms. I mean, it's all crazy.
Come on, come a little space, a little, just a little. These are the same people. These are the same people that you're in an elevator and they have to jam right next to you. And they have space. I'm not talking about the guy that runs in the last second and just has to jump onto everybody just to fit in. I'm talking about the people that there's a little bit of room. No, but we have to stack each other like we're doing Legos right now, and we have to fit in each other without getting too graphic. I don't want to. I don't want things going into every crevice of everybody's bodies. It's weird. And I'm not a germaphobe. I'm not. I kind of am. No, I'm not. I'm not an extreme germaphobe. I'm not an extreme germaphobe. But I don't like people touching me. It drives me nuts. So all the people that are resisting getting into subways, thank God I don't have to go into the city every day, and I don't have to get into the subway every day. So I'm fortunate from that end. My job has me running around from the driving most of the time. Okay, so I'm fortunate. I'm in my own little tin can by myself. I don't have anybody with me. So that being said, I'm fortunate in that way. But there's a lot of people that are not fortunate. They're still going to the city. Now, because of everything that we're dealing with, and because a lot of people were able to work from home, they have not been taking the subways. They have not been taking the LIRR. LIRR is not packed. You can find a seat. It's not like how it was. There's plenty of room. But they're not going in there right now. A lot of people. And besides those, a lot of people that are not going in there and not taking. Some of them have no intention of ever getting into the trains again, which is going to make it really, really tough for them to get to work once all their offices open up again and people are crying bloody murder. I have to go back to the office. Well, yeah, you do. Because guess what? You have to go to work. And working from home, yes, it could be productive. You could be doing a lot of things from home. You can be. And for certain jobs and certain type of fields, you don't have to go to the office. You really don't. You could do everything remote. You could do everything from this. You have a phone. You could do everything from your phone. You could be mobile. You could be doing from home. No problem. But for other jobs, you have to be in the office. You have to be there for certain jobs. And they're screaming murder. Oh my God. Oh my God. I have to go back in. I have to go in twice a week. Holy crap. Holy crap. You have to go twice a week. Now I have to get into the train. And a lot of people, because they have the going in twice a week or once a week or whatever the case is, like, I'm not going to take the train. I'll just muscle it through and I'll take my car into the city. And guess what's happening now? The parking has gone ballistic, nuts in the city. You can't find a spot. So if you want to go into the parking lots, in the parking garages, you're paying through the nose because they all went up. Because COVID, we all went up. And besides that, we got the other factor. The other part and the other component that I feel has attributed to these extra log jams in traffic, and that's the fact that gasoline, up until recently, has been relatively cheap. Not anymore, but it has been relatively cheap. So it's been somewhat affordable for a lot of people to actually. It's been somewhat affordable for a lot of people to actually drive into the city. But guess what? It's changing. Things are. You saw that video I did where I filled up my gas tank the other day. I just filled it up again. Another $93. It's like keep it going. Let's just keep pouring money into our oil. Don't get me started on that. I'm not gonna get started on the politics. I'm not gonna get started on the oil fracking everything. No.
So you pay for gas, Nick.
What?
What do you pay for gas?
What do I pay for gas? What do I pay for gas? So now I started putting in 89 octane in my car. Okay? I used to put 93 in my car because we have German cars and they have to have the super. Forget it. Somebody told me, good friend of mine told me, just put 89, you'll be fine. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to put 89, I'll be fine. So far, so good. I haven't burned my engine yet. So we downgrade to 89. 89 right now costs me anywhere, depending on the gas station that I go to, it costs me, this is for self-service, not full service. It costs me anywhere from 459 to 469 per gallon. I don't think that's cheap. If I was still putting in super in there, it would cost me around 489 to 499. If I was putting in regular, it costs about 439, I think, or 449, somewhere around there.
Well, some places over here, like Merck, they're like 411.
411, okay.
Yeah, you know, for regular, I probably get a little more for 89.
There's certain neighborhoods, certain areas that they're a little cheaper. They are. But here's the problem with that. I got to go drive another 20 miles to go find that cheaper gas. I just burnt all the money I would have saved and get the gas. Like, if I'm down here, I'll get it. But I can't go out of my way to go and get it. Now, if you got a BJ's membership and you have a BJ's that's around you, here's a tip. Harry, if you're listening, here I'm thinking you because Harry, a good friend of mine, and she works with me for years. She always points out certain things. She said, "You always tell people about problems. You always complain about things. Why don't you give solutions?" Well, here's a solution. Here's a solution. If you want to go get cheaper gas, you go to BJ's Wholesale Club, and they have cheaper gas there. But you have to have a BJ's that has a gasoline station near you. But if you do, you're going to get a lot cheaper. You get about 10 to 20 cents cheaper than you can get out of the regular market. So, tip, work that membership card, especially in this environment. Especially in this environment. NYC guy, it's dangerous in the MTA. Yes, it is, my friend. We got that other issue as well. Yeah, I didn't even touch that because I don't know how it's going to be. You know, when has it been a bad thing when why is it not acceptable by saying I don't like seeing a lot of homeless people all over my damn trains? Is that like a bad thing to say? Is that like a horrible thing to say? I understand. I feel bad for them. They're homeless. And there are shelters to help these people. But they don't want to go. And the city's like not caring. Not caring. You got a deranged homeless guy that's like knocking people over the train tracks on one side. You have another person that's defecating all over the place. Another one that's peeing on the subways. Another person that is doing other obscene gestures in front of women going up and down. And I swear to God, if that ever happened to like somebody like my daughter or something like that, I'd lose my freaking mind. But that's okay. That's acceptable. But if I say I don't like that, Trevor, you like that?
No.
No, you don't like it either, right? I don't like it. That's not good. We're not humane. We're not humane. Do something, city. Come on. There's a reason why this is happening again over the past couple of years. Not a couple of years. This is not a COVID thing. It started building up way before COVID started. I want to say this is a past 5, 6 years thing. This is a thank you, Mr. De Blasio thing.
I don't want to get you upset, but what about the landlord? They put up all our rent because we can't afford it. Sold out the street.
That's
I don't want to get you all upset.
that is a topic for another day. Everybody knows my pet peeves with the eviction moratorium, and I got my battles that I'm fighting right now, and there's so many other landlords that are fighting these battles. Managing these properties that are going, it's a problem. Let's just say, in a very nice way, it is a problem. But what I will say about this, like, I'm gonna just end this because I am going to get very upset right now thinking about this whole homeless situation in the city and the fact that everybody's taking a blind eye to it and they're not doing anything productive to help the situation. Yeah, we're gonna use some of these hotels and some of these empty buildings as but these are stopgaps. These are band-aids. What are you going to do as a permanent solution to help the situation now? What is going to happen? It has to be something done. And like I said, this wasn't always the case. This was the case in the 70s. Oh, it was the case in the 70s. Going into the 80s, we had plenty of homeless guys, women, and miscreants, and everything. We had plenty of that going on at that time. But it got cleaned up over time. Giuliani came in there with his iron fist, doing whatever he wanted. Whether you love him or hate him, he was very good for law enforcement, and he was very good for cleaning up the streets. I will tell you this much. Anybody remember 42nd Street previous Giuliani? Not a place you want to go for a date. Not a place you want to take your girlfriend or your wife or your fiance to, unless you're into that. Very different environment altogether. But it was cleaned up over time. Bloomberg continued that process, and then all of a sudden, we had De Blasio. De Blasio comes in, and he is coming in because he loves people. He loves people. He's doing everything for the people. You hear the sarcasm in my voice? Can you see it in my face if you're watching me on YouTube? Loves the people. Same way Cuomo. He loves the people. He loves the women too. But he loves the people. Where are we now? Yeah, blame COVID. This was all happening prior to COVID. But because the economy was still strong and people were making money left and right and people were doing good and people were really benefiting of the momentum of the markets, they had blind eyes to it. But guess what? When things start to go wrong on other levels, you start to see all the defects. You start seeing all the issues that are happening with the places. So again, I'm not making this a political show because it's not. And if you really want me to get political, yeah, you know what? Somebody that's listening that's got a political channel and want to talk about that, I'll come on your show and talk about it there. Here we're talking about real estate, and we're talking about New York and how everything affects us. And that's the reason I'm talking about the traffic patterns. Because don't think that doesn't make a difference as far as where the values are going from the city to Nassau to Suffolk to upstate to Westchester to Buffalo to Jersey. Don't think all that doesn't make a difference. The traffic patterns, the gas costs, that all affects the consumer. If not as much as it's not as much as what the interest rates affect them, but it affects them. I assure you that. I assure you that. NYC guy. I'm a LIRR, and MNR is up, but not as much as pre-pandemic. No, of course it's not. Of course it's not. People are just not going. They're hesitant. And the crime factor, the homeless factor, and a lot of other things that are going on are another detriment and another thing that are hurting people getting onto the subways. I made a comment about I feel horrified if I had my daughter taking the subway, but I'll tell you something. I'm a 6'1", 6'2" guy, about 250 pounds. I'm not a pipsqueak. I'm not a little guy, but I'll tell you this much: I wouldn't feel comfortable walking through those environments. I'd constantly be on edge. I'd be on guard. It's not a comfortable situation to walk down those subway corridors or be stuck in one of these tubes with some nut crapping and pissing all over the streets, all over the seats. Sorry. Sorry that I'm not sensitive about it and understanding about it. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't like it, and I find it offensive. And that's basically where I'm going to end the note on that whole situation with the trades, because I could sit there and talk about this whole show over and over again with that aspect. But let's go and turn it around to where it needs to be. How is this affecting our real estate market? Well, the further out people are going, and they have been going further out east on the island, finding houses because they're cheaper to purchase. They have been doing that. Now, with the rising interest rates and the rising cost of fuel, we're talking about gas, but don't forget about oil. And Harriet, I have not forgotten what you told me. I am going to be making a video solely speaking about various tips of how to save money in heating costs and making your home a little bit more energy compliant and not burning as much oil or gas to heat your home. I'm going to give a whole bunch of tips that helps people, and hopefully they can apply it not only now during these times, in all times. It doesn't hurt to save money, regardless if you're paying high or low costs on fuel. Saving money is a good thing. We're definitely going to be doing that. But you have the increasing expense of transportation. You have the increasing expense of heating and energy costs. And then you have the increasing expense of interest rates. The interest rates have been going up. And to be quite honest with you, they're going up a little faster than I expected. I was expecting to be where we're at right now at this moment in time towards the end of the year. Not right now. That growth has accelerated. We're at a little bit faster pace than I thought. And the crazy thing, the wild thing about it is, the real wild thing about it is the fact that the houses are still hot as hell. They're still selling. The supply is still low. So even at these higher rates, even at the higher expensive, yes, it has tapered down. It's making people a little bit, hold on a second. It's giving people a little bit of hesitation. But don't consider that hesitation to be anything of a softening. The only way this market could soften is if in the inventory rate start going up. They say this time and time again. It's supply and demand. It really is. It's supply and demand. As soon as we catch up with the inventory, as soon as we catch up in the inventory, that's when you'll see the slow. Just how it goes. I'm not I'm not giving anybody any groundbreaking news. I'm not saying anything that's not out there, but I'm just trying to put it in words and using this platform to help everybody have it sink in. You should need to have it sink into your minds. Unless these inventory rates go up, we're going to have these bidding wars. We're going to have people overpaying and going nuts to get a home and secure it. Not in all markets. This does not go all across the board. If you're buying a 5, 10, $20 million home, you're not in the same category as the people that are buying a $500,000 home. There's, here it goes, supply and demand again. There's a lot more people that can afford the $500,000 home than a $5 million home. Simple. The same theory, the same economics go across the board. Supply and demand. Same reason why certain types of commercial properties are suffering right now. And they will continue to have a little bit of a hard time. And I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say this because this will fuel my expertise. I strongly suggest the landlords that are sitting there and trying to rent out these units, these retail spots, these commercial units on their own, and not really being proactive to go secure a good tenant and not doing their checks the way they should be doing. I suggest they sit down and at the very least, you don't want to hire a commercial broker. You don't want to sit down and talk to a professional that's going to help you, guide you of not only how to find the tenant for the place, but will actually help you secure yourself in the best way once you find that tenant. Because you could get burned. You could get really, really burned. And the people that are going to get burned more than any other at this moment in time are going to be the landlords. Because it's going to come to the point of desperation where they're going to start renting them, giving all these incentives out there. They might lower the rents. They might do whatever they got to do to rent it out and get stuck with a bad situation because out of desperation. You're renting out a commercial space to somebody that is doing a startup business. You better think it through, and you better get a good amount of security to cover yourself, because 90% of startup businesses, they stay startup businesses. They close within a year, maybe 2 years, and that's not me just saying things. That's the truth. It's a fact. It's political. It's political. They want the government to take over homes, and it's called housing rights. Yeah, well, not even driver's seat talking today. This is an NYC guy talking today. He wants to get me lit up right now as far as government taking over properties. Here's the thing. I really don't think they even want to take over the properties because they're terrible at being landlords. Government's so much worse at being landlord than your worst slumlord out there. You can take the worst, actually, all right, one of the worst, not the worst, because we got some people that are like the devil incarnate that are slumlords. But the ones right above those devil incarnate slumlords, you take the worst of them, and the city and the government, they're so much worse. Every year, year after year, the biggest culprits of violations and penalties are NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority. Oh, look, I know my initials. As if it matters. NYCHA, everybody's known as NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority. Do you realize that they get more penalties and 311 calls than anybody else on the properties that they run. Good job. They don't want these. They don't want to take over this thing. What they want, what the city and the government wants, is for landlords to continue doing their job, do it great. You're not going to get paid. We want you to get paid as little as humanly possible. Why? Because housing is a human right. It's a human right. You know what? People should have the right to live somewhere. They should have the right to try to be warm and that kind of thing. But there's a sense of accountability. There's a sense of why is Trevor working his buttocks off? I can't say the other words, right? This is FCC stuff, right? Why is he working every day? You work every day, don't you? 7 days a week. You work here at the radio station. You also have a second job too. And he's a man of God. He goes to church too. He doesn't have time for anything. Why is he working like an animal and other people are taking handouts? Why? Doesn't that bother you? I know it bothers you, right? It bothers me. It bothers me every time I see my tax bill. Why? Why am I paying this? Why am I MTA tax? Water bills, DEP? Why am I paying all these bills? New York State tax, New York City tax, federal tax. Oh, salt. You can only deduct up to $10,000 out of your local taxes. Is this something that makes sense? Are we a true society that's become a socialist nation? Because that's what we are building the foundations of, a true socialist type of environment. And if that's the case, great. I've said this 100 times. Why doesn't the city and the government come back to every single housing provider, every single landlord, and purchase the properties back from them? You want to do this the right way. You want to be even to everybody. Purchase them back. Buy them. They're yours now. You're the landlord. Let me take my investment back. I'll do something else. I'll open up a pizzeria. I'll open up a deli. I'll open up a real estate brokerage. I'll do whatever I need to do. You make it impossible for me to be a housing provider and a landlord. You do it. But no, they won't do that. They want you to be forced to stay in this situation, and they want you to endure it and get tortured through the process and get paid as little as humanly possible. Because God forbid, you make an investment and you actually get a return on your money and not a loss. Holy crap. That's like a mind-bending kind of notion, isn't it? Could you imagine the government, the city got involved in the stock traders and said, "Oh, hold on, you're making too much money here. You Disney, you bought Disney and you made 10%. No. What about all the other people that lost? They didn't make any money. We're going to take your percentage and we're going to share it. Let's share it with the rest of the world." Because they have the right to be even.
You know what I think, Hank? I think the worst thing that ever happened is I know a couple of people when they were doing this unemployment check, people refused to work. They would just lay up in the bed.
Oh, you're talking about during COVID times?
Yeah, and they're getting all this money, and still it wasn't paying their rent. They were making more money on unemployment than what they would.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Why? During that time, the people that I know personally, as a tenant, I knew personally that they really were out of work and they were really struggling. They were trying to do the right thing. And then you have people that are working every freaking day. And I know this for a fact, but I can't do anything. If I call 311 and say, You know what? This guy's working, but he's still getting unemployment. Who cares? That's not your problem. What? But he's not paying my rent. Well, that's your problem. Well, okay. So he's not paying my rent. He's scamming the government, taking all of our money, and he's working full time. What world do we live in? What world do we live in? It's blowing my mind. It's blowing my mind. But hey, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be, you know, this is the new me. I'm not going to be yelling. I'm not going to read anything. I'm not going to be doing anything like that. But the city, the government, they don't want to take over the properties. They just want to. They just want you to keep being the landlord. They want to suck you dry like a vampire, because that's what these blood sucking leeches of politicians. All they do is suck the blood out of the life force of the city, the people that are the backbone, the workers, the worker bees. They want to suck all this, the honey out of the worker bees. That's what they want to do. And once all the honey is gone, they're going to dispose of you. And if there's no money left to cover your taxes, they're going to take your properties and give it to somebody else and say, "Now it's your problem. Now you're going to be the landlord and make no money." That's how it's going to work. But that's going to turn around. I can assure you. I'm not going to end it on a bad note. It will turn around, and I'm going to tell you how it's going to turn around. Because the funny thing about the world, it goes. Everything is a cycle. Everything is like the same way the globe, the world is a round orb that just circles around and around and around. Same way as that's the case. Life, history, it works in cycles. So it's going to get, at one point, I assure you, the housing, because of all the restrictions and the fact that they've tightened the pockets of every single landlord, there's no money going back into these properties. You're going to have really, really bad shaped properties. You're going to have a scenario where these properties, these homes, these housing environments are not going to be considered suitable for living. So what's going to happen? The government is going to give incentives to the landlords. We want you to pour money into the place. We want you to make them beautiful. We want you to make these living environments the best. We want to be the example for the rest of the world in housing. And they're going to pump more incentives and money into the landlords. They're going to bring up the properties the way they should be. The prices are going to go up. The values are going to go up. And the rents are going to go up astronomically. I assure you. This is going to happen. Mark my words. I don't know if it's going to be 5 years, it's going to be 10 years. That I can't tell you. But the cycle will hit. And when that cycle will hit, you can see all the renters freaking out that they can't afford the places, where if the government worked hand in hand with all the housing providers and landlords all across the way, it didn't make everything have to be in extremes. Because right now we're in an extreme situation. Now it's extremely lopsided to the tenant side. They're going to turn a day where it's going to be extremely lopsided to the landlord side. And you're always going to have people that are getting severely hurt. Think, people, think, politicians, do something. Do something that will actually help sustain and keep a balance in society. That's what you need to do. Harry, if you're listening, I'm giving you a solution. Balance. That's what we need. We need a balance between protection for tenants and protection for landlords. It's not going to make everybody 100% happy. And that's okay. That's okay. Not everybody has to be 100% happy. But everybody should be in a situation where they have acceptable terms. That's all. That's all. On that note, I'm going to end the show because it's 7:29, and the guy's going to call up. He's going to say, "It's my time. It's my time." So that being said, enjoy the rest of the evening. Enjoy this week. Make lots of money in real estate. Thank you again for joining me tonight. We'll be back with you again next Monday on the Real Estate Plate Radio Show, just like every Monday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'll be with you soon. Thank you.